Yes, now Familamo, welcome back to another video on Jazza TV. Today we're going to talk about the championship rounds, 12 round distance, and what it's like doing 12 rounds. So you see a lot of people who have a white collar fight or an amateur fight, could be a 3-2 minute round. He said, I gave everything there and I had nothing left. I was burning all over. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I've got a cousin who's done ultramarathon, 50 miles, some going. He said he has a white collar, it was harder than the ultramarathon, which is 3-2 minute rounds. Yeah, a lot of people they go blue in the face because they just can't keep up with the pace, and it's only 6 minutes of work, so it's crazy, isn't it? And the first time that I ever thought about doing it, I was lucky enough to be around David Burke, and I asked David Burke, what's it like? What's it going to be like when you do 12 rounds as a professional fighter? Bear in mind, I'm a 3 minute rounds amateur at the time, and we were going up from 4-2s to 3-3s. The amateur system had just changed, and even that was it was different, you know. We were going to have to now adapt to doing 3-3s over 4-2s, 1 minute more with 1 minute less rest. So yeah, he said to me, and I'll never forget it, because it like sort of took me back a little bit, and he said, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. And David Burke was very, very fit, really, really fit fighter, and that's how he trains us as an amateur coach. I was in the Solly boxing gym, and he was the coach, him and Kevin Smith, and Berkey was Kevin was the technical side, Berkey was the fitness, and Berkey used to really graft us, and I assume that Berkey's technique of training, his sessions was based on his own training. So yeah, and he used to do his demonstrations as well. He went the big fella, the big fat coach who puts the body bag on, who shouts work every 30 seconds, more. It's hard to listen to them fellas, in my opinion. If you're not going to get stuck in, you're not going to show people you can do it yourself, then why would I listen to you? You know, you don't know what you're talking about. That is sort of that's how I see it. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but I just feel like that anyway. But Berkey led by example, and he'd show you how to do these exercises, and he'd show you how to do the core. One time I asked him, could he do a muscle up? Have you ever seen a muscle up done? And he went, I've never tried one, like I'll have a go. And he'd done one, he'd never done one before. That's just the strength, he had natural strength and fitness. So anyway, when David Burke said to me, it'll be the hardest thing you've ever done, it took me back a little bit, you know. And so I turned professional not long after that. The season later I was turned pro, starting on 14 minute rounds with the goal of turning up in the levels to a championship fighter, which is 12 3-minute rounds. It was always a goal of mine, a dream of mine, to do 12-minute rounds. As amateurs, a few years before that, I'd sparred in the gym when there was no coach around. Me and my mate Dylan, we'd just spar. We'd do like 3-minute rounds and try and get 8 or 12 and stuff like that as a kid, because he always wants to be a championship fighter. So when I had my first, I had the 10 rounds. You'd have a 10 rounder for the interim titles, don't you? Like the English titles or the Central Area titles. I had 2 of them 10 rounders. The first 10 rounder, 12 rounder I ever done. Berkey's words rang true, because I got stopped in the 10 rounds. I got knocked out basically. Stopped on my feet, but I was knocked out because I went over, and when I got up, the referee waved it off. So the reason for that wasn't the power in the punch that hit me, it was the fatigue that got me. And it weren't the hardest thing I ever done in terms of I messed up the pace of the fight. I weren't taught how to pace a 12 round fight, you know. I weren't taught that. So it left a burning desire in me to prove a point and to do 12-minute rounds. And get good at being a 12 round fighter, figure out the pace, figure out how you slow the pace down, and I had to do my own way really. I had to find a way how to do it. So I was in the wilderness for a few years, because I was trying to figure out how that pace was. But when it turned professional, my coaches at the time, they didn't also know, because they were going from 3-minute rounds alongside me, so we'd never seen it before. There was another guy in the gym with me alongside me. There was 2 actually. There was Kevin Satchell and Ryan Farag. Kevin Satchell was just dead confident in his fitness that he'd do 12 rounds. So Kev didn't used to spar more than 8 rounds for the 12-round fight. And we also had Ryan Farag too. I went after Kev and Ryan went after me in terms of 12 rounds as a thing. So yeah, it was a goal of mine to do 12 rounds, and my next fight after that was a 12-round fight for the next 12 rounds. And anyway, the British title, which I won, I had a point to prove, you know. And Berkey's words rang true, and also getting stopped in the 10th and not quite going to 12th. Obviously, it was a big doubt in my mind going into the fight. So when you do go into a 12 round fight, 12 threes, it's important not to pace yourself, you know, because you can pace yourself a bit too much in the early rounds and get away from you and stuff like that. So I just said, no, I'm going to press it either way. I've got to do these 12-minute rounds. And so what happens is you get to like 6 rounds in, and if it's a fast pace, you start saying to yourself, that's only half a fight. That this is early on. When you get a bit older and you realise it's not that much, you get more experience. It's not that much actually. I'll come on to that in a minute. But when you get halfway through a 12-round fight at the start, it's like that's only halfway through the fight. That's been a full fight as it is. So a lot of fighters will think 6 rounds. A lot of people watching just assume 6 rounds is halfway through a 12-round fight, but it's not like that. It's more like 8 rounds is halfway through a 12-round fight, because the effort that you're gonna have to put in the last 4 will match the effort of the first 8, if that makes any sense. And if you break it down by effort and energy that you've got, I would say 8 rounds is halfway through a 12-round fight. For anyone wondering, if anyone's not going to do that, you don't need to wonder, do you? But the fighters who are going to go into the situation, I would class 8 rounds as halfway through, maybe 7 or 8 rounds halfway through a 12-round fight. And then for me, and then you're looking like you get to like to round 8. So what happens is you think, you never get to round 10 and 11 and 12 and start thinking, can I do the pace, can I do the pace? If you're ever going to question yourself, can I keep up this pace? It's going to be mid-rounds, like when you've done a marathon. Don't know if anyone, not many people have done marathons either, have they? But Tony did, he's done a fucking ultra marathon. But anyway, if you're doing a marathon, you're not going to question yourself on mile 20, 25, 26. You're going to question yourself in miles 18, when you get to the long streets and there's no one else around and it feels like you're running alone. That's when the questions come, and the injury starts and the fatigue, and then you start hitting the wall, as they say. So it's going to be the mid to late mid rounds. That's when you're going to question yourself. But it just goes so fast, and you're looking at the ring card sometimes, and when you're fatigued, it's harder to count. Have a little go at this. Run, just run it just run it 100 miles. And when you're fatigued, yeah, after it, try and think of a sum or an equation, or play chess or something along the lines on your phone. Just bring a chessboard and run it 100 miles to find yourself, yeah. But just run a marathon, it'll be faster. So your fatigue levels, they don't allow you to count as much. So when you go into round 8 or 9, it's like, is that we've done 8 or 9, or we're going into 8 or 9? Does that mean there's 5 left or 4 left because it's a 12 rounder? You know, 8 had 3, is that 12 or 13 or... And that's what you then start saying when you look at the ring cards. When the girls carrying the thing around, you have a little look every now and again in them mid rounds. But when you get to round 10, 11 and 12, you realise that you're alright, and your energy picks up then all of a sudden. So you see some fighters the last 10 and you start going for it, and it's like, why is he going for it now? He could have went for it earlier, but that's because he was doubting himself earlier on. And he realised the pace where it was going to be as hard as it was, and then he got the energy to give it their all the last 10 or the last round and stuff like that. Or you see a lot of fighters, the legs come back underneath them in the last 2 rounds and they start moving, or the power comes back and they start going for it. It's all psychological. So yeah, anyway, that was my experience. Well, I've got many more experiences I could tell you. Please leave them the questions in the comments below, what it's like. If you want to know a little bit more about boxing, what it's like inside the ropes, And as a fan, it's the questions what you have, and you think, why did he do that, or why does this happen, why does that happen? So yes, just leave them questions in the comments. But yeah, as always, Formula Lamo, thank you for the likes and the comments and the subscribes. Not everybody subscribes to the channel who does watch the channel, so if you do like the content and you have got a YouTube account, please press the subscribe button and notifications for when a new video goes live, and the support is appreciated. From Lamo, you have a nice day.